Understanding fallacies and their seductive abuse of reasoning. Here's a fallacious argument. Guilty people conceal their whereabouts. You didn't let me know where you were going last night, so you must be feeling guilty about something. Now this is fallacious because it resembles legitimate reasoning, but its conclusion does not follow from what came before. Can you see why? Well, there are plenty of reasons for someone not to reveal where they're going other than guilt. Even if it's true that guilty people do always conceal their whereabouts, it's entirely unreasonable of me to say that you are not letting me know where you were going, and thus that proves that you are feeling guilty. Here is another example of a fallacy. You can't trust anything she says about health because she works for a drugs company. She's one of them. Now, why is this fallacious? Well, because it pretends that a potential conflict of interest is sufficient reason for totally disregarding anything that someone says. This is what we call an AdHominem fallacy, meaning an attack on the person who's saying something rather than what they are actually saying. And once again, it is effective because it closely resembles legitimate reasoning. A conflict of interest may be a reason for treating what someone says with skepticism, but the AdHominem fallacy takes this note of reservation and pretends that it's grounds for entirely disregarding what someone says. And this is a very convenient trick to pull off if you don't want to engage with facts and ideas. Fallacies are traditionally divided into two groups: formal fallacies, which consist of illogically structured arguments, and informal fallacies, in which an argument may have a reasonable structure, but there's some faulty assumptions being smuggled in. Now, once you've got into the habit of spotting fallacies, it can be both addictive and rather demoralizing to see how widespread they are, masquerading as legitimate reasoning. Politicians are particularly devoted fallacy fans, but there's a simple technique that can be remarkably effective at demolishing fallacious folly, that of using comparable examples. So if someone declares that everyone they've spoken to has total faith in the president, so you should accept he's doing a good job, well, we can test this by coming up with a comparable example using exactly the same form of reasoning as them. It's the year 1192. Everyone I've spoken to has total faith in a flat earth, so you must accept it's flat. Or, nobody I've spoken to knows what the word cryptozoology means, so you should accept it doesn't have a meaning. Once we spell out examples like this, it's clear that something is wrong with the form of argument being used. This kind of argument is known as an appeal to popularity. It's one of a gamut of unjustified appeals that try to shut down debate by invoking authorities like nature and novelty and faith and decency, anything they can get their hands on to silence dissent and debate. And while there may be a point to this sometimes, these points are always worth spelling out carefully. They can't just be wielded as absolutes. And finally, as you no doubt know already, cryptozoology is the search for and the study of animals that may not actually exist.